and is not exclusive to the left. So the right likes to think about the left, that the left is really obsessed with celebrity. And they are. There's no question that folks on the left think that folks in Hollywood have some sort of greater window on the human condition than anywhere else. It's the reason why they take so seriously all of the people from Hollywood. And it's the reason why all these Democratic politicians want to have Lena Dunham speaking at the DNC, even though Lena Dunham is one of the most off-putting human beings on God's green earth. But the right is not immune to this. There is something to the human condition that when someone is famous or someone is rich, that we somehow grant them a halo effect. It's an actual psychological thing called the halo effect. You grant them the credibility of believing that they are good at everything. So if somebody is super wealthy, then we assume that they are super smart also. Or if someone is super beautiful, we assume that they are also worth listening to on politics. If someone is really good with, for example, astrophysics, like Stephen Hawking, this means he must have important things to say about politics and religion. If you're Einstein, this means that you are good at politics. So Einstein was a socialist. You'll see people on the left say this all the time. Einstein, one of the great geniuses of all time, who's also socialist in his economic leanings. So he was good at science. Nobody said he was good at economics, right? And I assume that you wouldn't have, Frederick Hayek do your physics for you. But because people are famous, we then grant them a certain level of credibility on other issues. So the latest example of this is Kanye West. So believe it or not, the right is now resonating to Kanye West. So Kanye, I will not say, can we remember back to 2005 when after Hurricane Katrina, Kanye West went out there and said that George W. Bush had purposely targeted black people with a hurricane? That guy? Like the guy who jumped on stage with Taylor Swift and said, "I'm gonna let you finish"? That one? So now he's tweeting out deep thoughts, and the right is so excited. They're so excited because Kanye West is tweeting out things that sound kind of right-wing. Like he tweeted out that he supports Candace Owens. Candace Owens, nice gal. I'm friendly with Candace. Candace is, she works with Charlie Kirk over at Turning Point USA. She's a black conservative. And Kanye West tweeted out that he likes how she thinks. And now he tweets out, we have freedom of speech, but not freedom of thought. And then he also tweeted this one out. Okay, that's true, I think. And then he tweeted out, the thought police want to suppress freedom of thought. Okay, also true. And then he also tweeted out at one point that self-victimization is a disease. Agree with all of these things. And I'm looking forward to Kanye West tweeting out facts don't care about your feelings. I think it'll be great. But the right responded to Kanye West as though it was an earth-shattering thing that a big celebrity like Kanye West was saying things that were remotely conservative. It just demonstrates the right's desperation to be taken seriously in the sphere of pop culture. I think that the Roseanne ratings are another evidence of this. I think that the right wants to be taken seriously. They don't want to be seen as bad, evil people. And the pop culture decides who's seen as bad and evil. Pop culture tells you stories. And the folks in pop culture decide who gets to be portrayed as the villain and who gets to be portrayed as the hero. So every time somebody on the right is portrayed as not the villain, the right is willing to take it. So if Roseanne voted for Trump, even if she is pro-cross-dressing and pro-gay marriage and pro-promiscuity and pro-abortion, we'll go, well, you know what? At least she's treating us well, so we like Roseanne now. We're doing the same thing with Kanye West. But I would just warn folks on the right. You know, you can be happy that Kanye West said something that seems to be conservative, but let's not pretend that Kanye West is some sort of genius, okay? I will use every opportunity ever to play this clip. This is from Jimmy Kimmel's show, back when Jimmy Kimmel's show was not garbage. He had on Josh Groban, and Josh Groban, the singer, and Josh Groban sang some of the best Kanye West tweets. Here's what that sounds like.
Fur pillow are hard to actually sleep on. Whatever happened to my antique fish tank?
You'll get all of your favorites.
Classical music is tight.
These are all his tweets.
Make awesome decisions in bike stores.
Okay, I would play the whole video because I love it so much. But Kanye West is not like a super intelligent human being, and he is certainly not politically intelligent. And so the right resonating to anything anyone in pop culture says because, look, that guy's famous. Okay, Kanye West tweeted out, he tweeted out the other day, self-victimization is a disease. He has also in the past tweeted out, quote, I hate when I'm on a flight and I wake up with a water bottle next to me like, oh, great, now I got to be responsible for this water bottle. Okay? This is a guy who tweeted, quote, I specifically ordered Persian rugs with my cherub imagery. What do I have to do to get a simple Persian rug with cherub imagery? Or this one, man, ninjas are kind of cool. I just don't know any personally. How about this one? Sometimes I push the door close button on people running toward the elevator. I just need my own elevator sometimes. My sanctuary. I will say, dude's funny. But should he be deciding tax policy? Probably not. Don't you hate when people clap too loud in the car? It's like, yo, this is a closed area. Your clapping is way too loud. Like, I love this. This is an entire tweet storm. My favorite unit of measurement is a bleep load. Like, when people ask how many shoes I got, I tell them I got a bleep load of shoes. How much is a bleep load? I'm assuming it's much more than a piss load. Kanye West, man. This is, what a genius. I just threw some kazoo on this B word. Yeah, this is the guy you're going to for your guidance in politics? Really? Really, folks? And then we wonder why our politics is so stupid. Because we are stupid, okay? The answer is because we're dumb. Reasonable to me. But speaking of unreasonable, I now want to turn to the fact that everyone in America has apparently lost their mind with regard to the capacity to take even mild criticism or joking. It's a pretty amazing thing. It really is pretty amazing. So speaking of people who can't take a joke about guns, Jay Feely is I believe, a kicker, right? I think he was a kicker in the NFL for the Philadelphia Eagles for years. And he was, he was a kicker, that's right. And Jay Feely tweeted out this photo, okay? He tweeted out a photo of himself with his daughter, right, who's apparently a beautiful blonde girl, and her date to the prom, right, who's just a normal-looking dude who looks like a couple of former employees here. And Jay Feely is standing between them with his arm around his daughter and a what looks like a Glock in the other hand. He's got a pistol in the other hand. And then it says, wishing my beautiful daughter and her date a great time at prom, #badboys. It's had 133,000 likes. Hey, this is the oldest joke in America. It's the oldest joke, okay? This joke has been done 1,000 times. I remember when I was in law school, there was a Halloween party, and a couple showed up as a shotgun wedding, right? This is the oldest joke, is that if you hurt my daughter, I will hurt you. And yet people lost their minds over this. People went crazy over this. People said, how dare Jay Feely? How could Jay Feely do something like that? Look at him. He's threatening that man with a gun. First of all, if you look at the picture, it's pretty clear that this kid is not really feeling very threatened, right? He's smiling. Second of all, it's a joke. My goodness. My favorite response to this was from the feminist Lauren Duca, who can always be counted on for the hottest feminist take. She said, oh, good, another picture of a man showing that he thinks his daughter is his property. So, number one, my daughter does not have free reign over her own life until she becomes an adult and is capable of making adult decisions. But that's really not what this photo is showing. Okay, like right now, my daughter is effectively speaking my property because she is 4. What I mean by that is I get to control her life. Right? She does not have all the freedom that she would have if she were an adult grown human being. But in this case, the daughter is 17, probably, right? 16 or 17 years old. But that's not what the joke is, you idiots. The joke is, if you hurt my daughter, they will never find the body. That's the joke here. But men acting like men is now being seen as something wildly toxic, even when men are just joking about acting like men. I thought a great insight about this yesterday was from a guy named Neon Taster. He said, the entire left talks about the evils of rape culture. So they say, oh, rape culture. It's so, people saying that rape is okay, so evil. Father tweets out photo saying, if you hurt my daughter, I'll kill you. Father is the bad guy. Again, folks, we need more fathers who are like this, not fewer. Okay, we need more fathers who are joking, half joking, about the fact that if you hurt their daughters, they will do something really, really nasty to you. It is good for men to protect women. Does anyone really think Jay Feely is going to go shoot this guy? Like if his daughter and this guy go have consensual sex, that Jay Feely is going to break in the room, guns ablazing? Is that really what anybody thinks? Of course nobody thinks that. Of course nobody thinks that. But the left has to think that, because the idea from the left is that the gun inherently makes Jay Feely a bad guy. They don't know Jay Feely from Adam. But they figure that if Jay Feely is holding a gun, then he must be one of those grunting Neanderthals who thinks that his daughter is his property, which is, of course, insane. There's a certain level of cultural anger that exists on the left toward people who are culturally on the right. I'm not even talking about people who are politically on the right. I'm talking about people who, for example, own a gun. If you own a gun, there are a lot of... I've spent my entire life living in Los Angeles and Cambridge, Massachusetts, being surrounded by people on the left. If you say that you own a gun around people on the left in Los Angeles or in Cambridge, Massachusetts, they look at you as though you are the kind of person who goes hunting for boar with a spear and then roasts it over an open flame before taking your wife Og back to your cave. Like, owning a gun is that sort of cultural hallmark to a lot of people on the left. And that's all this is. That's all this is. Because if the guy had been standing there, right, if Jay Feely had been standing there with, say, for example, a noose, right, and basically suggesting that he was going to come after this kid if something happened to his daughter, nobody would have cared. Everybody would have thought, okay, funny joke. He's carrying a gun, though, and so the idea is that the gun makes him super aggressive and super scary and super terrible. How dare Jay Feely, that scary, scary, scary man. Guns are not inherently scary, except if you train kids that guns are inherently scary. Now, it's possible to train kids that guns are inherently dangerous, which they are. Okay, but it is also possible to train kids that guns are a tool in the hands of the people who wield them. But the left doesn't see it that way. The gun in Jay Feely's hand made Jay Feely evil. The gun in the hands of the guy in Tennessee made the guy in Tennessee evil. It's not the guy in Tennessee is evil and had a gun, or the guy in Tennessee was mentally ill and had a gun, and that Jay Feely is a fine law-abiding citizen and he had a gun, and so it's a completely different story. And meanwhile, speaking of cultural intolerance, so Shania Twain has been raked over the coals because Shania Twain had made the awful, awful, awful mistake of suggesting that she might actually go ahead and vote. She's Canadian, that she might have voted for Trump. I'll explain to you in just a second. Meanwhile, speaking of people who cannot take a joke, this is an insane thing. So Shania Twain was in an interview, right? She was in an interview, and here's what she said, right? It's an interview with The Guardian. She said, quote, "I would have voted for him because even though he was offensive, he seemed honest. Do you want straight or polite? Not that you shouldn't be able to have both. If I were voting, I just don't want BS. I would have voted for a feeling that it was transparent, and politics has a reputation of not being that, right?" Okay, so basically she said what everyone in the United States felt, which is that President Trump was more authentic than Hillary Clinton. Now, vote for Hillary Clinton or vote for Donald Trump, you know, there are a lot of questions about how to vote in that last election cycle, but it is not really in question that Trump is a more authentic human than Hillary Clinton, because it's difficult to find a less authentic human than Hillary Clinton. There are legitimately mannequins that are more authentic than Hillary Clinton. There are robots on TV that are significantly more authentic than Hillary Clinton. And I'm not even talking about the robots from Westworld. I'm talking about like actual Rosie robots, like from the Jetsons, are more authentic than Hillary Clinton. So this is not a particularly controversial statement, but she then had to tweet out a 4-part apology. Okay, here's what she tweeted, quote, "I'd like to apologize to anybody I have offended in a recent interview with The Guardian relating to the American president. The question caught me off guard. As a Canadian, I regret answering this unexpected question without giving my response more context." So, number one, first of all, she is Canadian. Why is anybody like upset with how a Canadian would vote? She can't even vote. Who cares? Second of all, it is the most Canadian thing in the history of Canada that you are Canadian, cannot vote in an American election. You're asked about voting in the election, then you apologize to Canadians about how you would have voted in an election that's not in Canada. Pretty Canadian stuff, eh? Well, here's what she said. "I would like to apologize to anybody I have offended in a recent interview." And she continued by saying, "I'm passionately against discrimination of any kind and hope it's clear from the choices I have made and the people I stand with that I do not hold any common moral beliefs with the current president." Okay, and then she continued along these lines. And she said, "I was trying to explain in response to a question about the election that my limited understanding was that the president talked to a portion of America like an accessible person they could relate to, as he was not a politician." And she concluded, "My answer was awkward, but certainly should not be taken as representative of my values, nor does it mean I endorse him. I make music to bring people together. My path will always be one of inclusivity, as my history shows." So, again, I'm not sure what's divisive about her saying he was more authentic than Hillary Clinton, so I would have voted for him. She's from Canada. She is from Canada. But this is the world we now live in, where every controversy has to be about President Trump. Everything in the world is about President Trump. And it's a point of high irritation to me, because my view about President Trump is that President Trump is not that important a human being, right? He's important because he's president of the United States. But as a person, worrying about every little thing Trump does or says, like, I think a lot of the stuff that he said and done is, I think, mostly said. I think a lot of stuff he's done is great. I think a lot of the stuff he said is execrable. But so what? He's the president. I think that about every president. The idea that everything has to be about Trump is just an amazing, amazing thing. And the fact that we take the word of celebrities so seriously is pretty crazy. Now, I will point this out. The entire left, they went insane when Laura Ingraham on Fox News suggested that LeBron James should shut up and dribble, right? Even though she wrote a book called Shut Up and Sing about the Dixie Chicks in 2004. They went nuts over Laura Ingraham. How could Laura Ingraham say such a thing to LeBron James? Shut up and dribble. I said at the time, listen, I think it's kind of he can say whatever he wants. Is he an expert on politics? Not really. That's really what Laura was saying, I think. Okay, but the entire left said to Shania Twain, shut up and sing. So how is it, I don't know how you can hold those two thoughts in mind at the same time. You can't say to LeBron James, shut up and dribble, but you can say to Shania Twain, shut up and sing. Very weird and demonstrative again of the fact that when it comes to the left, it's the silencing that is more important than the reality. Now, I will say this. The fact that we grant our celebrities any sort of credibility on politics in the first place is bizarre, and also the reason why we now have celebrity politicians. Not only President Trump, but Hillary Clinton, let's face it, was a celebrity politician. Okay, Hillary Clinton may have had more of a legal background than President Trump, but when she ran for senator of New York, she'd only been First Lady of the United States. That was not an elected position. She never held elected office, and she went directly to being senator, and then she went directly from that to running for president. So Hillary Clinton was a celebrity politician too. She was. George W. Bush was a celebrity politician. And because, yes, he was governor of Texas, but the only reason he was governor of Texas is because his last name was Bush. Now, I think Bush was a much better president than Hillary Clinton would have been, obviously. I think Donald Trump is doing stuff that I never thought a conservative would do in office, and that's great. But the obsession of Americans with celebrity is pretty gross and is not exclusive to the left.